welcome to this special edition of Agenda. And of course, we are coming to you because there's a new team that's taken over the capital. It's called AK-67. And over the next half hour, we'll have a member of that team and also other interesting observers, people on the inside or prominent Delhiites, talking about what they foresee for the next 5 years. Adarsh Shastri is part of the AAP team, and he'll help us give us an inside view of how they're seeing things now that the Arvind Kejriwal's cabinet has taken over. They've already started working. Pawan Khera, a key member of Team Sheila Dikshit, which was ruling the capital for the last 15 years. And representing and writer Rakshanda Jalil is over here. She's got some key questions for the AAP team government that has taken over. So we'll be speaking to them. But before that, today the day really belonged to Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, who, as he said, popped a cross-in but came in there and made quite a performance. Take a look.
दिल्ली को भारत का सबसे पहला भ्रष्टाचार मुक्त राज्य बनाना है दोस्तों। अगर मैं और आप हम दोनों ये बात मान लें कि दिल्ली को पूर्ण राज्य का दर्जा मिलना चाहिए, तो दिल्ली को पूर्ण राज्य का दर्जा मिल जाएगा। सब लोगों को बहुत चौकन्ना रहना पड़ेगा, बार बार अपने अंदर झांक के देखना पड़ेगा, अपने आप को टटोलना पड़ेगा कि कहीं हमारे अंदर अहंकार तो नहीं जाग गया। ये वीआईपी कल्चर खत्म करना चाहते हैं।
No VIP culture, no corruption. These are some of the promises that Arvind Kejriwal is making. But also, immediately after that swearing in, when the ministers took charge, the Deputy Chief Minister, that's Manish Sisodia, announced that Arvind Kejriwal would not keep any portfolios for himself. So, our first talking point really is that. Is it a wise decision not to do that? Adarsh Shastri, do you know why he decided not to do that?
Well, I think clearly his focus is going to be on the mandate that the people of Delhi have given. And I think he's clearly going to look and evaluate the entire government machinery, including the bureaucrats and all his ministers and MLAs, in terms of being able to have a deeper perspective and able to evaluate his ministers, his MLAs and the government bureaucrats and closely monitor their performance. I think that's the thought behind the idea. Though I haven't had a conversation with him on this, but that's the thought, I think, prevailing.
And I believe, work closely with all of you,
yes,
all the MLAs.
Absolutely. That's the idea.
Because you're the MLA from Dwarka.
That's right. That's
okay,
right.
Pawan Khera, how does that work? Because Sheila Dikshit had, like water, some of the key portfolios with her. How does this work vis-a-vis? Where do you see this going, not having a portfolio?
The Chief Minister happens to be the ex-officio chairperson of the Delhi Jal Board. Therefore, she had the water portfolio. Every Chief Minister has a different style of functioning. I'm sure Arvindji must have thought about it. And I'm sure he, AAP is a new party. It's Arvind Kejriwal is the high command of the party.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he has a lot of headache otherwise to ensure that the party settles down. It has just come to power now, but it's a very new party. It's very fresh. It's very raw. So maybe he wants to have an overall overview of who's doing what, and instead of spreading himself thin, he would like to ensure that the party and its message and its work and its agenda gets translated into action.
Rakshanda Jalil, I know that you came in here with some key questions for all of them.
Yeah, I think that the next few days, really weeks and months, are going to see a shift from electoral politics to governance. There's been a lot of rhetoric, a lot of things have been said which make a lot of sense to all of us. But as an ordinary citizen, I want to see some action plans. I want to see something toast, something substantial coming out behind all the good talk that makes sense to all of us. Everybody, every party, major party has been talking about making Delhi a safer place for women. Tell us how people are going to go about it, and let us not please talk about when we get full statehood, when we get the Delhi police with us.
That's what Arvind Kejriwal was also saying there.
I feel that that's in the distance. No, let's talk about the here and now. So tell us, share with us, how do you plan to go about some very important things like, for example, making Delhi a safer place for women?
So, so let me put it to you this way, that when we planned our manifesto, which is based on 70 points, we have broken down that manifesto into 3 aspects. One is immediate deliverable goals, which should start reflecting at the ground level from as early as 30 days. The second is going to be the 2-3 year time frame, and the third is going to be a 5-year time frame. So clearly for us, women's security, for example, is something which should which should be visible on the ground from as early as 30 to 60 days.
List one or two
So,
things for us.
For example, bus marshals. Now this is something, we have a 12,000 strong force of home guards, which is actually in that sense redundant, because they have not been put to any good work. And now they will be retrained and put back and deployed into a 12,000 odd fleet of
Who's
DTC
training
buses.
them?
So they will be trained by the Delhi police and all these security wings, and they will be put back into buses. They will be deployed immediately. 12,000 odd buses we have, and they'll all be put in the buses.
Oh, so each one for
Yeah,
one.
yeah, each one for a bus, so that there's
By
any-
when? The training happens when?
So I think it's going to start very soon, and I'm estimating in the next couple of months we'll have people in
So
the buses.
that's one concrete thing. Okay, I want to.
So-
Do you think that's a good idea? Would you feel safer with a home guard there?
Yeah, actually, but they make promises to us, but sometimes we get disappointed. Actually, at last we find nothing like that what they promised earlier, and the result is like we get very disappointed. So we don't have so much faith and trust in
Yeah.
those words.
It's
actually.
There are a lot of young
So,
voters
yeah,
and they're
yeah, of
impatient,
course.
you know, to see
Also,
results.
I-
This
We
was
want
done in
result
March
actually.
2013. Sorry.
Yeah,
This
Mrs.
was done
Dixit, yes.
in March 2013 under the Sheila Dixit
There were
government.
marshals.
Now I don't know what happened after we were voted out
But
of power.
was it ever implemented?
Yes, it was implemented
So,
In each bus we
in
had.
each bus.
Okay.
so that's something which will be delivered on the ground very early on. Things like CCTV cameras, this will get delivered very early on. So there are some of these aspects will happen very quickly. Things which are more infrastructure based, setting up larger hospitals, colleges, schools, may take more time. On the ground level, I suspect we will see this happening. We will see a sudden decrease in corruption, which I think is a very, very big issue. And what happened in 49 days earlier is something we will see again happening within the next 2
No,
weeks.
I know you keep saying that, what we saw in 49 days, is there a measure, because Transparency International didn't really say that it was because of those 49 days. Corruption did go down slightly, but they didn't actually directly attribute it to that. Where is the measure coming from? I know that all of you keep saying that in 49 days, is it more of a perception thing, or is it on the ground?
I think on the ground, dramatically
How?
on the ground. So so typically you want to build a flow. Your MCD guy is not taking money. You jump a red light, your policeman is not taking money. You want to get your birth certificate done, that guy, this authority is not taking money.
They weren't taking money.
Yeah, they were not.
Does anyone do they have any experience during those 49 days with the, yeah, go ahead.
I travel in the Delhi University North Campus very frequently.
Right.
So I've seen so many cases where the common rickshawalas, they jump the red lights. There's no police. There's no police to say anything to them. And even if there is, I think they'd rather go the women surpass, and then they'll cut a challan for the male passengers. But I'll share a case with you. There were 3 women on a scooty. So I was just standing there and I observed the whole scene. The traffic policeman, he said, "Okay, Didi ji, aap chale jaiye." So she was like, "Thank you so much." And then, in a very plain, simple manner, he said, "But kuch to deke jaiye." So she handed him $100, and that's how it goes.
So I'm, so there could be exceptions to the whole the way the whole thing happened, but on the whole, the general feedback that we got from people at large was that 49 days was relatively a golden period in terms of there being no corruption.
Really?
At the ground level, which is what affects a common man. He really is not concerned of what happens at a higher level in the government. His concern is more based in terms of how I go about my daily life and where can corruption stop there.
Yeah, you
No,
want
but
to
we,
say,
we
yeah.
need to watch out against myth making. This 49 days should not become an urban legend.
Yeah,
That's a very real concern for me. That the 49 days we've got to move on. What about the now?
Well, they definitely want to move on for the 49 days
yeah,
further.
exactly. I
You
hope
wanted
so.
to say something. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to say that there was a sense of fear among the bureaucrats during the Aam Aadmi Party government, and I myself saw that when I used to travel in the DTC buses.
Really, how did you see that?
I used to travel in the DTC, and when the ticket collector used to come, he used to scrutinize the whole bus. Whereas earlier he would only find out anyone. If he could find someone without a ticket, he could just take him and.
That's interesting. Pawan Khera, what is it that they were doing differently then? Because, you know, this young man...
Sunitra, when a new government comes to power, there is a fear amongst the bureaucracy because they are trying to measure them. Both of them are trying to measure each other. So I would not be surprised if there is no corruption even for the next 2 months.
Really?
But I would really be very relieved and happy if they can find a permanent solution in terms of systems. Human beings don't change. Whichever government comes or goes, human beings remain the same.
Yeah.
I must point out that the last 1 year was extremely bad for Delhi when there was no government. In terms of corruption, it really went very, very high. So from AK-49 to AK-67, it's a huge responsibility, and I'm sure this responsibility also gives them the confidence to put systems in place.
Okay, I wanted to get some reactions in, and also Rakshana Jalli, I wanted to ask you, one of the things that he reiterated, which was actually classic Arvind Kejriwal and AAP style, was saying that, "Acha koi aapko mange, rishwat mange, if they ask you for a bribe, setting kar lena, and make sure you record that." What did you think of that, Rakshana Jalli?
No, I thought that was clever, and this has been part of the whole AAP strategy even
Yes,
in the
that's
past.
right, it's classic,
He's been
yeah.
actually encouraging people to use their cell phones, to take pictures, to post those pictures. So I think, but yeah, it's a kind of a vigilantism, but yes, for the good, for the larger
For the good,
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah.
And then, because it makes people aware that you all liked it as
and
well.
it's so
Is it something-
doable. I mean, considering most people have a cell phone with a camera.
Most of these things, deterrence is a big thing which works. So if you feel you can get caught, if you feel you can be made accountable, that helps build a lot of fear.
Now, before we go into break, Pawan Khera, I just want, I know you want to say something, but I just wanted to ask you, when they talked about women's security, one thing that we saw, that even though Sheila Dikshit was getting, she got 3 terms there, she would feel cornered whenever a crime against women would happen. And in Delhi, we saw lots of those cases. There were a couple of times when she got caught out as well because she made some statements which perhaps she said were taken out of context about Soumya Vishwanathan, when she said that women perhaps shouldn't be going out in the night. Do you think on this issue of law and order, it's very tricky for the government in Delhi?
Delhi government, yes, because it's a very typical arrangement wherein the Chief Minister of Delhi cannot punish a single cop on the road. There is a major anomaly in the system.
Which they found out last time round.
Yeah. If they can fix that, and I don't know how, of course things would be different. But I somehow can't figure out a way wherein police can be made answerable to the elected government of Delhi. There is a major issue there.
Which you all felt. Okay, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll ask Adarsh Shastri how they'll deal with those nitty-gritty problems where the buck stops actually with the central government. How they'll deal with that balance. Be right back.